what is it that I really care about? And that turns out to be a rather abstract idea, the idea of an open society. So critical thinking, democracy, a market, these are the institutions that you need for people to be able to get closer to the truth and to improve their conditions in life.
From one Soros Foundation in Hungary, there is now a global network of foundations and initiatives in over 60 countries.
All I can do is help the people there to help themselves.
Millions and millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars go every year into funding for political organizations and campaigns in different countries around the world that promote U.S. agenda. And most U.S. citizens are unaware of the fact that that's how their money's being spent, to meddle and influence and interfere in other nations' affairs.
I think it's terrible. We use taxpayers' money to go over and use our military and our CIA and these programs to say, this is what you ought to do and influence them. There's no authority for that. It doesn't work. It teaches a lot of people to despise us.
Створилися фактично зародки пори почалися ще в вересні минулого року, коли молоді люди з різних середовищ, різних міст України почали розуміти, що вибори, які прийдуть в Україну, вони будуть доленосними, і наш вибір буде або демократія, або авторитаризм. Ось після того було дуже багато поїздок, дуже багато навчання, дуже багато розмов з людьми. Пора перемагати.
We become very, how to say, connected generation, you know. Now we are in contact with a lot of people, with a lot of students from the other faculties, so we'll become connected, more united. I think that's the best part of this process.
We have a key to the hearts of the people. We fought for mind and hearts of those people. They are ours. They want to change this country. They want to make this country prosperous, transparent.
the European Parliament, this means that we condemn all acts of violence of the past few weeks. We reject the attacks against the Parliament building, but we want to express in particular our condemnation of the almost systematic police brutality against people arrested during the days following the parliamentary elections.
ყველა საკითხის განხილვა შეიძლება, მათ შორის თუ გნებავთ საპრეზიდენტო არჩევნების დაჩქარება, თუ გნებავთ პარლამენტის არჩევნების ხელმეორედ ჩატარება, ან სხვა რაღაცა პრობლემა, მხოლოდ იმ პრობლემის მოგვარების შემდეგ, რაც მე თავიდან მოგახსენე.
უნდა დადგეს ფეხზე ყველა ქართველი ჩვენ გვინდა მშვიდობა და მშვიდობის ერთადერთი შესაძლებელი შანსი. რევოლუცია მშვიდობიანი მთელი ხალხის მონაწილეობით ყოველგვარი გასროლის გარეშე ამ წუთებში მიმდინარეობს თბილისის ქუჩებში. დესპოტის შევარდნაზე მოშორდება დღეს გადადგება.
Восстановить порядок. А преступников накажут.
I was quite happy that finally Ukrainian youth understand that that people can influence the politics, that they can change something. And right now, but looking outside in the window, I can see that we really made some difference. Finally, like maybe thanks to efforts of Pora, we mobilize the society.
What took place in Moldova is different from the colour revolutions, when verdicts of international organisations were used to dispute election results. Nobody did this in Moldova. OSCE and other international monitors recognised that elections were held in accordance with all the standards. So there was no traditional external provocation factor. Protesters were obsessed with the idea of destroying Moldova as a state. Moldova still has no agreement with Romania on the state border. We have pointed this fact to the EU and hope this will be resolved.
Remarkable men and women from across Central and Eastern Europe. We welcome you. We thank you for your example, for your courage, and for your sacrifice. And the democratic revolutions that swept this region over 15 years ago are now reaching Georgia and Ukraine. Eventually, the call of liberty comes to every mind and every soul. And one day, freedom's promise will reach every people and every nation. We have lit a fire as well. A fire in the minds of men. It warms those who feel its power. It burns those who fight its progress. And one day, this untamed fire of freedom will reach the darkest corners of our world.
We are not dealing with some kind of protest rallies only. We are dealing with unprecedented wave of popular discontent, and we are dealing with democratic, bloodless revolution.
I am convinced, deeply convinced, that the Democratic Coalition was ruined by one thing alone: human ambition. The ambition of one person's thirst for power, different values, personal interests taking precedence over national interests.
This operation has been well thought, well prepared, and well organized, and it is also quite obvious that it has been well paid for. This has nothing to do with patriotism.
As I saw happen, for example, in Ukraine, as I saw happen in Georgia, as I see happening in other places too, they don't just propagandize or attempt to help with words and rhetoric that opposition. They actually do things that give that opposition more power.
The opposition is in talks with the government, demanding it steps down. They gave a preliminary agreement, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. The disorder in the capital is getting worse. The Interior Ministry is not under the control of the opposition's temporary government, nor the old one, and it isn't doing anything. This situation will soon be resolved, and the opposition government will have its first session with all members present.
We can say it was part of a broader agenda called democracy promotion, which at that time was a priority by the American administration. This idea in the United States started to decline, and we see that since that no new revolutions were successful, not in Azerbaijan, not in Armenia, not in Georgia again, not in Kazakhstan, not in Moldova once and now second time. So I think that this phenomenon was very much connected to period of Bush administration.
Later, opposition leaders announced they had formed a new government and taken over a state security headquarters. They also said President Bakiyev had fled the country.
In the case of Kyrgyzstan, also a takeover. The people had high expectations of the revolutionary powers and governments, that the West would provide the revolutionary government with more substantial assistance, and that the living conditions would improve fast. But we all know that the democratic mottos were not a goal in themselves, but they were a means of achieving their own national aims, to seek pro-Western governments in those countries, to have pro-Western leaders, and to reach their own national goals, to increase their presence and influence in those strategic regions.
Well, we have to look at the entire construct of some of the infrastructures we saw develop in Europe, Western and Eastern Europe during the George W. Bush administration. We know that the Open Society Institute of George Soros has been involved in a lot of election-themed revolutions in places like Ukraine, Georgia, Kyrgyzstan, Serbia, Moldova, and other countries.
So critical thinking, democracy, market, these are the institutions that you need for people to be able to get closer to the truth and to improve their conditions in life.